What's up? This is Kid Fonque here on Selective Styles on 5FM, and I thought we're coming close to my 200th show on radio. And let me bring in someone who's been, firstly, very, very involved in house music on a global level and has been super busy under lockdown and is definitely, without a doubt, a pioneer of house music. His name is Louie Vega. Welcome.
Wow, what an entrance. What an intro. Thank you.
All true things.
I'm good, man. I'm here at home. It's been, since March 9th that I've been home. And now we're at the beginning of August. So we're talking, 5 months?
It's crazy, man. This global lockdown has been crazy for DJs in general. And the one thing that I've seen from you is just how active you've been.
Yeah, sure. Basically, I'm on worldwidefm.net, which is Giles Peterson's radio station in London. And I've been with them for a few years, and I was already doing stream live shows with them once a month. And I pretty much had the setup down here. And I said to myself, wow, okay, well, I have this setup here. My son was actually telling me, you should stream live, Dad. I was like, wow, he's 20 years old. And but I had to keep it interesting. So I said to myself, what can I do? And then Giles said, well, why don't you try different styles of music, because you have such a vast collection. Everybody started getting used to it. It was crazy. I couldn't believe the following I had developed and the diehards who came on every day live and were on the chat. And it was really wonderful how it brought a lot of people together internationally.
I think the one thing that is so good to hear is that you're still DJing, even though you can't go to Europe, even though you can't go to a club. Social distancing is like a reality globally, but yet you are still super active, man. How important is it to be playing, to be DJing for you over this time?
Well, DJing is my life. You know what I mean? It's a big part of my life, as well as producing and doing all the other things that I do. But DJing is where it stemmed from. So for me, I have the setup here. I have a wonderful collection that I collected over many, many years. So imagine you're playing for 2 hours, and instead of playing in a club for 500 to 5,000 people, whatever, you're playing in those 2 hours for 100,000 people, and then it's on all week, and then it goes on the archive. So next, hundreds of thousands of people are listening to your music. And the great thing about the show is that I'm pretty active when it comes to being verbal. So I'm speaking a lot. I'm speaking stories in the studio, experiences that I've had over the years, and on a lot of the music that I've worked on, or artists that I've worked with, and other producers, musicians. So I really give you an insight to how it was making that record if I do play one of those records. For instance, when I did Luther Vandross, you heard from all his singers, Lisa Fischer, Cindy Mizell, the musicians, the musical director, family members, so, it's really been opening up into something that people are really excited when they hear you speaking about something that you're connected to. When it comes to the artist, you're
yeah. I think that's what makes kind of specialist shows more engaging is the stories behind the music. And it sounds like you've got such a rich depth of yourself, firstly, but I mean this world that you're connected to musically. But the one thing that I got super excited about was this reconnection of Masters at Work. Which I see unfolding in front of me. You and Kenny Dope are getting back into studio.
First of all, I mean, we've been talking about working and making music. Then all this happened, and then he moved. He lives in another state.
Wow.
He lives 2.5 hours away from me.
Okay.
So we can't just I can't ride to his place or him to mine, and us just get together and make some music. And especially now that we're all disconnected in a physical way, you know what I mean? We're not able to see each other in the same room. So I said to myself, what can I do? And for my son's birthday in April, I got him Ableton. I got him, the sweet package as a gift. My wife and I got him that. And we got him as well the Push And he started just learning on his own. It was amazing. I mean, you know, he started making tracks. One of the tracks came out so good that I put it out as my single. It's called How He Works by Nico Vega, featuring Nico Vega.
Okay.
And it's on Nervous Records. It's
Oh,
part of my album. I mean, you know, he's writing songs. All this stuff is going on. I'm like, goodness. And now I said to myself, I can't get my engineer here because he's in Brooklyn and it's dangerous for him to come here. You know, Brooklyn's not close to New Jersey. I'm actually another state. So I said, wait a minute, Nico's upstairs in his studio. Why don't I try to play keyboards and let Nico program and engineer?
yeah.
You know, I said, oh my goodness. And it sounds amazing. I said, I cannot believe it. This is really turning into something really special.
So is this the beginning of Masters at Work? Essentially,
yeah, so,
productions again.
Yeah, listen, once you start, you know, doing a couple of tracks, word gets around. Next, you know, we worked on for Crosstown Rebels. Damian Lazarus calls and says, Louie, I got this DJ Crust. I signed an album from him. And we know DJ Crust from Ronnie Size and the whole crew.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
days, right? DJ Crust did the same thing. Send it over to Kenny. Kenny lay on the beat, send it back. I played keys, send it back. He laid down some more, send it back. I played it, and then we finished another one.
Amazing.
Then somebody else calls, Joseph Capriati. You know, he's featuring Byron Stingley. We did the same thing again. So another remix, you know. So I said to myself, Kenny, man, we got something here, and the energy feels great. It feels like, you know, when we were in that energy of just creating, and it was just moving very fast. And so now we're actually, one of the next projects might be Monique Bingham, Take Me to My Love. Maybe a Masters at Work mix on that.
It sounds like there's going to be a Masters at Work album soon. The way you're talking.
Definitely, there's going to be a Masters at Work album.
Amazing.
Also, we're revamping the label. You know, our music has never been available to everybody to stream or on all the digital outlets. It was only on TrackSource and Beatport. That's it.
Right.
So now we just signed with an aggregator. And our music is going to be everywhere,
Amazing.
You know, in the next few months. So now we're revamping the label. We're just tightening up all the versions and everything. And it's like 95% there. And once we deliver it, we'll have a whole campaign for our release of our entire catalog.
So inspiring, man. It's so incredible to see someone just still at it, you know. It's like this virus hasn't got you guys down. You just keep pushing. You're so big in the house world, and obviously you know how big house music is here in South Africa. What's your take on what's happening in South Africa? Because you've been so part of it since the beginning, you know. You've always come over. You've got a residency on another radio station. You play in our scene. I mean, what's your take on what's happening here musically? Is there any people that you kind of think are amazing that are coming up in the new school? What's your thoughts of the South African house space at the moment?
Well, you know, I haven't been there since December, and usually when I go out there, you see what's hot and happening at the moment because everything's buzzing around it.
Sure.
And when you play in festivals, a lot of the artists, especially the new artists, are performing at the events. And obviously when I was there in December, last December, you know, the big craze was Amapiano, you know, and you know, I know Maporisa, I love Kabza and the whole crew.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I've listened to their music for years, and I've seen this whole thing develop. I looked at it like when drum and bass came out of England. Yeah, you know, it was something that came from England.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like we own the sound, like Gom, or like
exactly.
Like it's something that would have not come out of any other space but South Africa, and you always seem to connect with it. I mean, when I saw you and Kenny DJ here as Masters at Work, you kind of like flirted with a bit of Gom in your set. You know what I mean? And it's so inspiring to see that the music that is coming out of SA is touching the ears of our peers.
Well, you know, yeah, when Kenny and I went, we played for a festival out there, and we love the beats, you know, and you know we love beats, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we love
Nervous Record, man. It's all,
you know, and we were like, damn, this music got, you know, it reminds me of when we was in that Masters at Work flavor, and we were doing a lot of those syncopated beats.
Yeah.
and you know, back in the days, but with you know, it has this whole sound around it with it was really the songs, the style of the raps, the style of the singing, you know, different language, everything, and we were attracted to it, and we had lunch with Fresh,
Yes.
and that's when he took us to a barbecue spot, you know, because Kenny loved the barbecue, so we went to the barbecue spot, and we had a good time with Fresh, and we were talking about the music, and he was saying how this music was, you know, taking the scene by storm and everything, and then he sent us some of the music, and we were like, hey, you know, these beats are hot, you know, why don't we flip some of the beats, you know, in the set, you know, and because it kind of flowed with a Masters at Work vibe. The way the crowd is so into it, we love it. It's, you know, it just feels good. You know, it was at a much slower tempo. It was like mid-tempo. I call that mid-tempo, but
yeah, it's kind of the new Kwaito in a sense. You know,
right.
It's really
True.
slow. It feels like the new generation of Kwaito is the piano vibe, and
Right.
I completely hear you. It's when you're in a space and and a DJ is playing and the crowd is working that music, it's hypnotic, man. It
is, man. We were there. We saw it firsthand, and Anani and I were like, wow, this is beautiful. So we saw Maporisa and some of the guys, and we asked Maporisa to send us some music, and we heard some of it. We were like, wow, this is beautiful.
yeah.
You know, with Anani and I or Kenny and I, it's like if we feel it, we play it.
Sure.
And at one point at this wonderful festival we played at, and Anani played an Amapiano record, and I was like, wow. And the scene, the way it just flipped, and it was beautiful. And it was crazy because all these giant moths started flying around the stage, like a lot of them. When we played this one Amapiano song, and I could not believe it. It was just like it was really surreal how it felt watching all those people out there, and huge crowd, and all these beautiful giant moths flying around to this song. Yeah, it was like a movie. I mean, I couldn't believe.
Louie, you're making me miss DJing, man. I just want to DJ now to a crowd. It's such a wild space that we're in. Like, never in my life have I ever been like in one space and chatted to my friends on a global level, and we're all affected exactly the same way.
Yeah, everybody's been moving around, and I mean, you know, but I think also, you know, it was something that was needed to reevaluate things in life, and being home with family, you know what I mean? Yeah. Because imagine, I don't think I've ever been home for 5 months in my entire career, straight like that.
I've got a 5-year-old son, and I've often spent, I mean, my weeks, obviously I'm not DJing, so I'd be spending a lot of time with him during the weeks, but I've never spent this amount of time with my son, because I wake up, he's there. I work there. I go to bed, he's there, and you know, just repeat every single day. And I think it's exactly what you're saying. We get to actually breathe and be calm and be in this moment, which is so surreal.
It's really beautiful what's going on now at this point.
Amazing. So again, it's so inspiring to have someone who's just been in the game since, man, I must have been like 15 the first time I got like my hands on a Masters at Work record, and still doing it. Even over lockdown, you're still grinding, you're still representing the music you love, you're still DJing, you know, and you're still so relevant in the scene. Thank you so much for your time, Louie. A true inspiration. Thank you for taking your time out, spending it with me here on Selective Styles and everyone that's listening. And we'll be in touch. Bless.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Anytime.
5FM. Watch 5FM TV on YouTube. 5FM.